This one is so honored to have just now again received a communication from the Cosmic Collective on this subject, because there is much more that has not been addressed yet with respect even to the law of attraction itself. Certainly not from the standpoint of that which has been elaborated through the formalistic commercial means such as the secret project. Not to cast any aspersions, but just simply to know that there's much more. But for now, let me just simply invite a compliment. That's compliment with the E as opposed to the I. The complementary law that works especially closely in a dialectical, dynamical relationship with the law of attraction. And that is what we call the law of reciprocity. As I have explained the nature of the law of attraction as that which sends forth wave patterns out into the field, and then these wave patterns redound or rebound, and then there is interaction of the wave patterns. Those are essentially directed towards the process of bringing forth concerted, concentrated intent and to manifest reality and experience. The law of reciprocity also has much similarity to the law of attraction, in the sense that where something is emitted, something is also correspondingly received. Yes, this as a principle is a commonality between both of these laws. To understand the law of reciprocity, however, is to put it in the context that is somewhat different from the context in which most people are experiencing the law of attraction. The law of reciprocity works primarily at the level of what we can call the solic directive for experience and realization. So, as we have talked about so far, most of the understanding and application of the principles and the law itself of attraction come from this humanocentric myopic perspective. The law of reciprocity is that which operates for the most part beyond the framework and the scope of most awareness of most human beings. The law of reciprocity addresses that solic directive. So let's just take that for a moment and say, okay, how about this? How about I have been working really hard on this law of attraction business, and it just ain't working for me, okay? Like, why? Am I not doing it right in accordance to, what they say in the videos and the DVDs or the books or the seminars? What is it that's not working right for me? Am I not being intent enough to manifest? Am I not being consistent enough? Do I have something else going on? Am I sabotaging myself? This commercialization of the law of attraction has actually become a basis for many people to go into a whole lot of therapy oriented around the fact that they ain't getting the success that they thought they were going to get in applying the law of attraction. So it does give one pause for reflection if it seems that the law of attraction principles are not applying to them with success. And sometimes in the beginning it just looks like, oh, it's because you're not doing it well enough, consistently enough. Of course, you're going to have mixed results unless you're putting out the same type of consistency of your signals. This may be the case much of the time. And yet at the same time, there's something else that's overriding and overarching to that, which has an even more deterministic impact upon this process called manifestation, and that is the law of reciprocity. What do I mean? An even greater significance. It may be in this lifetime that I have certain values, I have certain desires, and thus through my wants, I'm going to try to manifest and satisfy my desires. And if I can satisfy my desires, I will consider myself happy and successful. But you ever have that experience where somebody has said to you, you know what, just off here to the side, you ain't cut out for this line of work, okay? This really isn't your calling. You're trying to make it, but it's not you. There's something else about you, that this particular thing that you're putting so much energy and passion and industry towards, it's just not you. I think God's got a different plan for you than what you think you have for you. So that's a sort of a commonplace situation many people find themselves in, where they're going like I want the money, I want the success, as per somebody's formula. Maybe Tony Robbins' formula, maybe Deepak Chopra's formula, maybe Wayne Dyer's formula, or Marianne Williamson's formula, or whoever's formula, okay? But there's really something else that's a different true calling for them. That true calling relates to why they actually came into this world, why they actually came into life form in this realm at this time. That's their soul's directive, or the soul's imperative. That is your assignment. Why you are here, and what's this all about, Alfie? So, if you understand that there may be, if there's not this thing called your success, even though you are assiduously and vigorously, even consistently, applying these principles of the law of attraction for your sense of success and desired outcome, and it doesn't seem to be happening, it may be also because you have a different, and what we can say, a more core, a more true, a more spiritual, a more honest, a more even cosmic, so to speak, directive as to why you are here. A true mission, a true, as we would say, dharma. So the law of reciprocity relates to what we call the law of dharma, the mission for your soul and for your being in this world. So it kind of works like this. Me and my localized sense of what I want and who I think I am, fluttering around in this thing called everyday world reality, and I'm desiring things, I want things, and I'm sincere, and I'm trying to make it happen, and it ain't happening too well for me. That's because there's an aspect of me which is much higher, my true higher self, my true higher calling in life, and that aspect of myself is saying, like, there is more, other, beyond this stuff here that's really the reason that I'm here. If I wish to experience this other aspect or level of success of the law of attraction, then the law of attraction must be brought into harmony with the law of reciprocity. Guess what? When it seems as though I find an inkling of who I am truly and why I am and what I think is really and feel with a sense of growing confidence is my true soul purpose in life, guess what? The universe responds like that. It didn't take measured, prepared, disciplined industry and repetition and all of that kind of thing. No, the law of reciprocity supersedes the law of attraction by virtue of even the potential of an instantaneous deliverance of circumstance and situation that changes in conformity with my attaining a realization that is along the path of my true dharma in life. So what you will find is people who have countless stories and vignettes, anecdotes, to tell you, I spend so much time of my life, so much of my resources, so much energy trying to go down this road. And I did it all, everything I did right as far as I could tell. And it just didn't work for me until I found my true calling in life. Once I found my true calling, it's like God in the heavens just opened up and just sent a whole truckload of angels down here to help me out. And now I'm happy. I'm fulfilled. And it's just happening. Miracles are happening all the time. But the miracles that are happening are not the miracles that I thought were going to be the miracles to come to me if I was obedient and if I was hardworking and everything else, if I was authentic. These are the miracles that are all clearly in service to why I am here in service. In other words, it's about the fulfillment of my mission in life, far, far, far more than it is about the fulfillment of my basket of desires or my bucket list of success. So this is how the law of reciprocity supersedes the law of attraction. Now, the law of reciprocity and the law of attraction come together in a dynamic resonance when I turn my attention towards full acceptance of this clarity that I'm beginning to have of my true purpose in life. Now there is no conflict or dissonance between the wave pattern dynamics of the law of reciprocity and the wave pattern dynamics of the law of attraction. They will come into resonance with one another, and therefore there is miraculous potentiation in and towards and service to the fulfillment of this great mission. That's the spiritual mission my soul was given, that I came into this life to fulfill. That will go into further discussion when we talk about the laws of karma, we talk about the laws of manifestation and laws of divination, etc. And we also talk about the hierarchical procession of enlightenment itself. Suffice it for the moment to just recognize we exist as higher beings in higher states and more subtle states energetically and spiritually and etherically of consciousness. We come to inhabit this densified corporeal envelope of material flesh and bones and all of this kind of stuff in this material realm and reality that we call the world or the real deal. But this moment in time is the drop in the bucket of a few decades of this which we call our lives. Our soulic being and our soulic nature is immortal and is eternal. And thus, as immortality and eternality, there is a higher state of knowing, and thus there is a higher construct that gives meaning and direction to the process of becoming manifest as a living humanoid being in this localized envelope of material, corporeal, flesh and bones, and a little blood along the way. So that's why this law of reciprocity exists, because in the flows of these streams of consciousness, in progressive distillation, progressive dilution in terms of connectedness with Source, awareness of itself and its very nature as infinite Source, as things come progressively into the field to manifest as physicality, there is less knowing with each iteration, with each derivation. And as I explained before, some of the processes by which attachment comes, by which desire comes, by which suffering comes, it's an ever-densifying field. And with that ever-densifying field, there's more and more of a turning inward to the notion of what satisfies the self. And thus, when we understand even the most basic aspects of the law of attraction, naturally, in a generalized sense, we are going to want to apply it to that which serves the self-interests. The law of reciprocity serves the spiritual and the cosmic and the soulic interests, my eternal nature. And it wants to make sure that it is operational and assistive in directing me as much as possible as source cosmic intelligence itself, operationalizing through the matrix of manifestation laws, that either things are working or they are not working very well, and the net balance or the net bias inherent in that dynamic is that which facilitates the turn away from, generally, the self-interest and towards the sense of there is a spiritual and a more collective and a higher order, and must be therefore some sort of higher other beyond purpose for my being. And just that very change in perspective that we begin to open up to that is our true turn towards spirituality. We truly are turning towards spirituality once we begin to ask the question, is there something more than just this? Is there something beyond this in this world of cause and effect that I'm experiencing that may explain and actually be a level of organization to help deliver experience that is serving a greater meaning, is serving a greater purpose? May I actually be an instrument in this thing called my life of some kind of greater meaning and some kind of greater purpose in this world. May indeed I be an instrument of God's design and infinite love, to put it in a somewhat religious context. May I be indeed a vessel of truth. May I indeed be a servant. May I contribute something positive to this world in this short thing that I call my life, my lifetime. And so as one turns this way, this mobilizes and actualizes the dynamics of the law of reciprocity. The more then I begin to experience, okay, pause on some of this self-indulgent stuff and this mania I may have had about the law of attraction, turn more of my attention to the law of reciprocity. And in the process, I begin to realize my own hard-headedness and my human free will, which was driving me so much to be obsessed with these notions of success. I relax that a bit more, and I might even say there's something like God's will about me and my life. And maybe if I can just sort of get off of my personal platform so much and start reaching out, maybe through a bit of selfless service, maybe a bit more of selfless service, maybe a whole lot more of selfless service, because this selfless service stuff is actually pretty cool. And actually I begin to realize that through true giving, less concern about my selfish nature, less indulgent of my selfishness, and more sharing, especially sharing and service through my selflessness, begets a reciprocating reward and validation dynamic through this law of reciprocity, thus called reciprocity, because thus through such service into the field is thus returning such service as that which then will be these resonant wave patterns. This is how we reconcile what seem to be contradictory dynamics between the law of attraction and the law of reciprocity. This is the unifying level. Once we have surrendered human free will to divine will and to cosmic will, then there is no irreconcilability of attraction and reciprocity. There is, in fact, indeed, the unifying resonance field. A little bit later, I'll go into more elaboration, as I said, about what else is so divinely and even meta-divinely beyond the divinity levels of existence about these amazing, beautiful dynamics of the synergy and intelligent union of the law of attraction and the law of reciprocity to fulfill what was actually the original cosmic intent, the original source intent of anything which comes into existence. That is the return to source. And yes, these laws are also themselves brought into resonance and mutual potentiation, and thus into unity consciousness and unity experience. We'll go into more of that later. For now, I hope this is useful. Thank you.